Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto became the Hunter Fox of Konaha Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. It has been almost a week after the whole interaction with Anko happened and now Naruto was seen slashing imaginary opponents with his now blazed katana. At first, he thought that the heat generated from the sword would hurt him rather profusely. However, Kyuubi assured him that when Naruto uses its chakra, the fire won't consume his body, simply because of how Kyuubi's control over the fire element is. Suffice to say, Naruto was impressed at know that Kyuubi was the true Lord of Fire. Furthermore, Naruto was quickly learning the Huka Yakushin, fire-kenjutsu style and thus being able to wield the Furisire, free spirit, with ease now. After all, he not only got accustomed to the weights on his body but the katana's weight as well. Naruto, now that your kenjutsu training is done, we'll improve your ninjutsu part. I know that you already learned all the Fuden jutsus and all of the Kaden jutsus that I told you so far. But since you're going to be pretty much alone out there, you'll need to save as much chakra as you could. Therefore, chakra control exercise is vital. Now, summon 300 clones and divided them into two groups. One will practice tree walking and the other will go to the lake for water walking practice. You, on the other hand, will do a new exercise, said the fox, to which Naruto nodded and turned to summon the two groups. After he divided them and set each group for their specific tasks, he turned to listen to the exercise that the fox would relate to him. Now, you'll be practicing meditation. The theory is simple. By closing your eyes and focus on your inside, you can manage to feel your chakra flowing through your chakra coils. The objective of this exercise is to be able to feel how much chakra you're using while on a technique or just channeling chakra to a specific part of your body. After this exercise, there is two high-level Kaden jutsus that I will teach you. First one is a human one called Kaden Karyu Enden, fire style, Dragon Fire Missile Jutsu, and the other one is one of mine that I called Kaden Makai no Kyorin, fire style, Hell's Fury Jutsu, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto sit and closed his eyes, true to Kyuubi's teachings so far. Along the month period, Naruto was rather impressed by seeing this teacher side of the fox. While he was tough, actually more inclined to a driver, Naruto was able to learn a lot from the kitsune, thus shortening the time needed for him to be able to take care of himself outside of Konaha. While he closed his eyes, he began what the fox said about channeling chakra through specific parts of his body, thus trying to feel such a flow. After a while, Naruto had already tried every parts of his body in efforts of feeling the chakra flowing inside of him, but he wasn't lucky at all. So far, he couldn't see if he was channeling more or less of the chakra necessary, and that was frustrating. Kyuubi once told him that this exercise was more to test his patience while channeling chakra, since it would get him to understand things more clearly, without being driven by negative emotions. With Anko walking without a care in the world, among the streets of Konaha, Anko was heading towards her favorite restaurant in Konaha, the Dango store. Along the way, she wondered how she would have survived without being able to taste such pleasure in life. While she was walking, however, she noticed someone familiar coming from the opposite side of her and sighed at the person's sad expression on her face. Anko kind of sympathized with Kurenai, not because she lost someone dear to her, but simply from pain in general. Kurenai was somewhat of a friend to Anko, since she was the few amongst the ones from their generation that never mistreated Anko because of what Orochimaru did to Konoha. Deciding that a little comfort was in need, Anko approached the red-eyed Junin with a smile on her face. "Ohio, Kurenai," shouted Anko, greeting to which the woman smiled and nodded in response. After a while of greetings, Anko offered an invitation to eat some dango, to which Kurenai accepted. So right now, both of them, having already ordered their respective plates, settled down in a table. Kurenai was still looking down, clearly mourning over her lover's death, while Anko was trying to come up with something for conversation purposes. So, how is your team? Asked Anko, clearly throwing conversation away, and even more clearly it was that Kurenai wasn't on the mood to be talking about teammate. Sorry Anko, since it happened, I haven't seen them yet. Hokage-sama assigned a temporary replacement for me, so they are out on missions. Other than that I don't know much, said Kurenai, without even bothering to look at Anko's face. However, as Anko was about to ask another question, Nara Shikamaru entered the place and spotted the two kunoichis and the look on Kurenai's face at the death of his sensei. Truth be told, Shikamaru still wasn't accustomed to not smelling the intoxicating smoke that usually came out of Asuma's death sticks, but he at least was in terms with what happened and was on the verge of moving on, but seeing Kurenai's saddened face, proved to him that in her case, it would take longer to heal. Ohio, Anko-san, Kurenai-sensei, said Shikamaru, not with the pretension of staying any longer than he has to, since he felt like interrupting their conversation and it would be much troublesome to do a thing like that. Hello there, Shikamaru. Join us if you want. I believe Kurenai here would appreciate that you stay at least for a little while, said Anko, most likely begging for him to stay and bring up a topic that was worthy, also one that wouldn't increase Kurenai's sadness even further. Say, I was looking for Naruto, I wonder if any of you know where he is? Asked Shikamaru, making Anko sweat profusely and suddenly diminish the guy's intelligence rate. Here she was expecting him to at least bring up a harmless conversation, and instead the man asks for the man who, according to Kurenai, was the one responsible for Asuma getting killed. True to her worries, Kurenai clenched her fists at the sudden name and would attack Shikamaru had his shadow wouldn't appear and hold the woman's punch. After seeing what she would have done, Kurenai withdrew her arm and apologized to the Chunin. Sorry Shikamaru, I didn't mean to lash out on you as just, said Kurenai, to which Shikamaru filled in the gaps for her. Every time you hear Naruto's name, you get angry. There is no need for apologies Kurenai-sensei, said Shikamaru, to which Kurenai nodded and looked down again. It was his fault that Asuma is dead. If he wasn't here, Akatsuki wouldn't come here searching for him, said Kurenai, almost like expecting to be contradicted by any of the two, but strangely no one said a word, making the red-eyed kunoichi look at both shinobis on the table. First, she noticed that Shikamaru was sad as well, but she knew that the death of Asuma was the only reason. However, Anko was with her eyes closed, presumably thinking. True to Kurenai's wonderings, Anko was indeed thinking, and the reason was Kurenai's comment regarding Naruto's staying here in the village. She wondered if Kurenai was saying that simply because of Asuma's death, or that Kurenai really believed that Naruto staying in the village would only bring misfortune to the village in the future. Suddenly, she remembered the blonde saying something to her that. Flashback on. So, what are you going to do now? After what you've done, you can't stay here and wait for them to sudden praise you or something, asked Anko, to which Naruto nodded. I was never in need of recognition from them in the first place, and you're right, I can't stay here, but not because this village would hunt me down or something like that. The longer I stay here, the more people will be hurt by Akatsuki just so that they can get to me. Flashback off. Naruto, no matter how much suffering you've been through in your life, no matter how much adversity you overcame, still you have to bear the burden of forever being Konaha's scapegoat. Such is the life of a Jinchuriki such as yours. If I were to choose, I'd gladly committed suicide a long time ago. My congrats to your will for living, and I hope that the villagers and Kurenai will eventually stop blaming you for what happened, thought Anko as she looked at Kurenai one more time, before saying all that she needed to say. Do not worry anymore Kurenai, you'll never see his face ever again, said Anko before lifting from her chair and leaving Kurenai and Shikamaru looking at her trench coat. Shikamaru for his part was intrigued by what Anko said. He knew that Naruto wouldn't abandon the village, simply because he wouldn't stand as low as the Uchiha traitor. However, why would no one ever see his face again? A mask perhaps, thought Shikamaru, wondering that Naruto's face would be forever hidden by him using a mask. So that meant that either he entered the Anbu program or he was listed as a hunter nin. Knowing that such doubt wouldn't solve the mystery that is Uzumaki Naruto, Shikamaru turned to address Kurenai that he was supposed to meet his father, to which Kurenai nodded and bid him goodbye. After Shikamaru left, Kurenai got to think about what Anko said for a moment. Since her interaction with Naruto at the funeral, Kurenai was getting more and more convinced that the blonde would be better off gone from Konaha even before he was born. Of course, she knew, deep inside, that she began to think about him as being the one to blame, because of Asuma getting killed. Kurenai never viewed the boy as being a demon. Actually, she even found her student Hinata's crush on Naruto to be actually cute. However, at the funeral, Kurenai was in turmoil over Asuma dying, so yet again Naruto was used as her scapegoat for her frustrations. Kurenai remembered all of the interactions that she so far had with the boy. Out of few times she got in contact with him, however, what caused the most affect on her consideration of the boy was the time he helped save Yakumo for her inner demon. At the time, Yakumo was trapped inside her own mind, trying to understand what really happened that killed her parents. In the end, Kurenai was able to wake Yakumo up by using Naruto's life as an example. At the time, she actually respected the boy from keeping the fox demon at bay and even be able to endure the hatred of the villagers and even some shinobis who happened to lose their family, but now that Kurenai lost her family supposedly because of Naruto, Kurenai simply changed her whole idea of who was Uzumaki Naruto and blamed everything on him. She remembered seeing Naruto's eyes that moment at the funeral and she was able to see guilt all over his face. Now that she recollected the events, she was able to see that the blonde was assuming all the blame for Asuma's death, without even worrying about the consequences of such act. After that, when he offered her the opportunity to take revenge from Asuma's death, he was simply abandoning his will to live only for her to take revenge from her husband's death. But why would he do something like that? If I decided to go through at the time, I would have killed him for sure. Would he let me do it? Thought Kurenai as she was done eating and just playing with the remaining food. Suddenly, thoughts of Anko saying that she wouldn't see Naruto's face ever again, made her wonder what would that supposed to mean. Kurenai knew that Anbu was recruiting talented individuals to join their forces, but as much as Naruto grew, she knew that he wasn't prepared to become an Anbu. Even more, since he was still a genin. So, that would remain the second ninja profession that required the usage of a mask. Oh no, he's going to become a hunter nin, isn't he? He is going to leave the village. My god, is this all my fault? Thought Kurenai. Reaching to a conclusion, Kurenai got up from the restaurant, paid for the bill and went towards finding the blonde for a little conversation. With Naruto. Looking at the mask that he was going to be wearing, Naruto was remembering when the leader of the Hunter Nin program, aka his new boss, appeared this morning. Flashback on. A tall man wearing a Hunter Nin mask and black overcoat approached the area where he was supposed to meet his new recruit. According to the Hokage, this person was talented and would be a fine addition to his program. Therefore, he approached the training ground at first to gauge this Uzumaki Naruto's abilities. He wasn't surprised by seeing what appeared to be 100 clones of the blonde, practicing Kaden ninjutsu while one of them was swinging a katana. After a while of watching and pretty satisfied, he approached the one holding the katana and presented himself. Hello there, Uzumaki Naruto, greeted the man, to whom the real Naruto stopped swinging the sword and turned to look at the tall man wearing a Hunter Nin mask. Naruto knew that today he would be receiving his gears and Hunter Nin material. Therefore he wasn't surprised to see a Hunter Nin in front of him. Hello, do I know you? How do you know my name? Asked Naruto just for the man to present himself without the need of saying anything wrong. The name is of no relevance to you, soldier. Now, I got words from Hokage-sama, that you wish to become a Hunter Nin, and although she told me the reason as to why you want to become one, I for one don't care about it. Your reasons are your own. Now, I'm the Hunter Nin leader, and as a hunter, you shall address me as leader Sama. Got that, soldier? said the leader, gaining a nod from the blonde. Okay. Now here is your mask and an updated bingo book of Konaha's missing nins so far, as well as a book consisting of missing ninjas across the elemental countries. Your job is to hunt only Konaha's missing nin. However, should you eventually capture missing nins from other countries, you'll need to go there and collect the bounty on said person. Now, regarding our missing nins, since you can't come and go here every time you collect a head, we'll have to establish a connection between you and the Hunter Nin station here in Konaha, said the leader, to which Naruto nodded and proceeded with his idea for a link of communication. Leader Sama, I already thought of a possible link between us. I'll summon Toad summon Gamakichi and he'll be responsible for establishing a line of communication between us, said Naruto. That's fine. Now, you'll need to change your clothes if you want to survive out there. While you're wearing black, you're also wearing orange, therefore it's safe to say that you'd be a sitting duck out there. So, before you start tomorrow, shop for another piece of clothing, preferably black, that won't give away your position. Now, good luck out there, said the man, before vanishing and leaving Naruto alone on the field to think about it. Flashback off. Putting his mask on, Naruto got up and dispelled the clones one by one until memories of the last jutsu he would be learning entered his mind. The Hell's Wrath jutsu was considered high level and Naruto would need at least 2 taels worth of Kyuubi to do this technique, so it would be like a last resort kind of jutsu. After that, Naruto left the training ground, heading for his house. On the way, Naruto was surprised to see that no one recognized him with the mask on. Therefore 1 and 1 from the rookie 9 passed through him and no one knew that it was him. Sakura, Ino, Hinata, Tenten, Neji, Lee, Choji, Kiba, Shino, no one could spot the blonde when the mask was on. Seeing this, Naruto sighed, realizing that his path has began and thus, his past life ended. Upon arrival at his house, he saw the last person that would pay him a visit. Yui Kurenai was there sitting in front of his door, waiting for him to arrive. Naruto wondered if the woman would take his offer and strike his heart with a kunai. Getting ready, he approached the door with his mask still on, thus attracting the woman's attention. Kurenai, for her part, saw the blonde already with the Hunter Nin mask on and sighed, hoping that she wasn't too late to do what she intended to do. When Naruto stopped in front of her, Kurenai gasped at the sudden growth. She remembered at the funeral that Naruto was barely bigger than Kiba's size, but now Naruto apparently was bigger by 2 sizes, thus showing that he must have been training non-stop to achieve this form. Also, Kurenai managed to see the katana strapped on his back and also knew that he didn't use one until now. However, when it was supposed to open her mouth, she couldn't from the words, much less let a sound escape, to which Naruto took as in his responsibility to start any sort of conversation. Kurenai-san, what can I do for you? Asked Naruto, earning her attention and silently thanking his initiative so as not to look foolish. Naruto, first of all I wanted to apologize for what I said a month ago, said Kurenai, and then waited for a reaction out of the now masked shinobi. No need for apologies. What you said was nothing far from the truth and you as hell know that. Spoke Naruto, making Kurenai look down in sadness, from seeing this boy was delusional as to his situation. You can't seriously believe that. I shouldn't have spoken that to you, you're not the fox, Naruto, shouted Kurenai, however not even phasing the blonde. Whether you believe it or not, Kurenai-san, the truth is that Kyuubi and I share the same body, so he is me and I'm him. Now, I'll just go inside and grab some money for shopping, be right back, said Naruto, not even waiting for a response. After he came back, he was surprised to see that she was still there waiting for him. You're still here, I see, asked Naruto, to which Kurenai nodded and turned to ask him about where he was going, to which Naruto responded by saying he needed to buy new clothes for the job. Naruto knew that Kurenai saw his mask, thus wouldn't try hiding his profession to her. Can I come as well? I want to talk to you about your choice of being a Hunter Nin, asked Kurenai, to which Naruto lifted his shoulders as in telling her that he didn't care whatever happened. On the way, Kurenai was apprehensive by looking at the masked blonde. As a child, she had lots of nightmares concerning that mask, and now here she was seeing what looked like a bright young man, actually starting to scare her a lot. Naruto, why did you become a hunter nin? Asked Kurenai while walking side by side with the big blonde. Naruto for his part didn't trust her enough to relate his actual reasons, as well as the fact that he didn't want anyone trying to dissuade him out of it, so he simply gave her a vague response. Decided to give it a try. Who knows, maybe I can find my vocation, said Naruto, not even bothering to turn his head to face the woman, much to her annoyance. You don't know what it means to be a hunter nin. Being a hunter nin is tough, said Kurenai, trying to dissuade him out of it, much to Naruto's annoyance this time. I didn't know you were a hunter nin before, Kurenai-san. Since you know what it is to be one, then. Now, I'm going inside to buy some black clothes for me. You can come if you so wish to, said Naruto, to which Kurenai was already fuming at the boy's ability to piss her off. Careful, Naruto, you are pissing her off. While I enjoy seeing that face on people, you wouldn't like to be on her bad side, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto started to talk inside his head. My answers are serving a purpose. Getting her pissed at me will stop her from trying to dissuade me from leaving, thought Naruto as he entered the shop and went to the clothes section, while seeing the face of anger displayed by the Junin. Kurenai, for her part, decided to breathe a little bit and forget about the blonde's attempt of pissing her off. After that, she began to scan the blonde's choice of clothes. So far, Naruto picked up what appeared to be a black coat. Also, he picked a fishnet shirt and went to the dresser to try it on, never once taking his mask off, making her wonder if he's doing this so as to remain inconspicuous amongst the crowd. When he went out of the dresser, Kurenai had to give it to the guy. In a few minutes, he managed to find a style that well suited him and his new profession. Black cargo paints on the bottom and an open black coat on top of the fishnet shirt. Also, he found some fingerless gloves, also black, finishing with dark gray boots. Actually, if she wasn't a month ago blaming him for the death of her husband, she would find this new Naruto to be quite the looker, of course without the mask on. After seeing him paying for the clothes and leave the store, she sighed, knowing that his path was now chosen and no one would change that. Now leaving the store, she ran to his side and started to look at his new look. Quite an enigma, this guy. He didn't even appear to be thinking about anything other than going forward. What is on his mind right now? Thought Kurenai. Upon arriving at his apartment, he took off his mask and looked at Kurenai for a moment. After this, Kurenai forever felt like betraying her husband after seeing the blonde's face. However, she was awoken from her wonderings when Naruto turned to speak. This will be last time we laid eyes with each other, Kurenai-san. Whether we meet after this will be by pure coincidence. Take care of what and who's important to you, said Naruto, before giving his back to the woman and closing the door, leaving her outside without even waiting for a response. Truth be told, she was appalled by what she said, but then she knew that he was simply stating the truth of the matter. Hunter nins were hard to be seen since they traveled constantly, and when they were inside the village, they used masks, so it was impossible for them to meet again outside of pure coincidence. Kurenai also was happy to hear what he said for last. Needless to say, the blonde managed to get Kurenai out of her misery from Asuma's death and helped her wake up for life. Naruto, I'll be waiting for your return, so that I can tell my son your story. I want him to meet the one who faced the adversities in life and strive to overcome them. Through your story, I hope to teach my son what it means to be a true shinobi that inherited the will of fire. Naruto, Genin of Konaha, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, and now Hunter Nin for Konohagakure. I'll do my best for the next generation to know of whom you are and who are you about to become in the future. Until then, please watch out for yourself. The next day, Naruto woke up to what was his last night's sleep inside the village walls. Strangely enough, he had the best sleep of his life. He dreamed about being able to see the world without worrying to come back or even having to fulfill a mission. Since he decided to leave the first thing in the morning, he woke up at 6 and was already heading towards the gate at 7. Looking around, he saw the shops beginning to open for business, but very few citizens were on the streets, which was perfect for him. A couple of shinobis were visible, even 2 Anbus that were patrolling the area, but other than that, Naruto didn't recognize anyone. Practically visualizing the huge gate in front of him, Naruto sighed, since right in front of the gate, there were a few recognizable people. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, Anko and strangely Iruka were there to see him off. Somehow, they knew that Naruto would leave early and stood there waiting for his arrival. As to the group, they were waiting for Naruto to appear and leave to start his Hunter Nin mission. However, their sights were met by a big 6 feet 2 inches man wearing all black from head to toe, Hunter Nin mask and blonde hair. Anko was the one who recognized the blonde, which earned the attention of everyone for 2 reasons. One was Naruto's outfit and 2 was that Anko managed to recognize him, which made everyone grow suspicious of the snake mistress. Jiraiya already figured that the girl and Naruto got comfortable with one another and began to write some noted on his notebook, earning Kakashi's attention from being the #1 fan of Ika Ika and Tsunade's fury. The result was Tsunade punching Jiraiya and Kakashi to grab the notebook and read the material so far. When Naruto stopped in front of the group, he was surprised to say that he didn't know what to say to them. Kurenai was easy because he wanted to piss her off, however this group was the only one to whom Naruto could trust, however he didn't want them feeling sad that he left or even trying to dissuade him of his decision. Luckily to Naruto, however, Kakashi chose to initiate the conversation. Naruto, contrary to what you might be thinking, none of us wishes to dissuade you of anything. We just wanted to wish you best of luck out there, said Kakashi with a smile behind his mask, to which Naruto just nodded and took off his mask, surprising everyone present. This new Naruto was somewhat different. His eyes' expression didn't have any doubts of what the blonde was about to do, and by looking at him, everyone somehow felt it was right for him doing this. True to their analysis, Naruto was actually confident that this was the best vocation for him. Also, he would protect the village by leaving them. By now, news of his fake travel to visit Jiraiya's network was already public, therefore Akatsuki would be out there trying to search for someone that doesn't exist anymore. I appreciate it, Kakashi-sensei. Well, I don't know what to say other than thank all of you for being here to see me off. Some of you just now entered in my life, but others were there for me since the academy. Please take care of yourselves and I'll be in touch through letters or when I come back occasionally. Until then, though it would be unlikely that any of you will be hearing from me, said Naruto, earning nods from the group. Seeing that no one chose to speak anymore, Naruto bid them all goodbye and proceeded to walk away from the village. Meanwhile, the group was talking between them about the blonde. Do you think he'll be okay out there alone? Asked Tsunade, to which Kakashi replied by saying that he could take care of himself. Iruka was amazed by the blonde's growth since the academy and concluded that the blonde would be every missing nin's nightmare some time from now. Anko was seizing him up to bottom and remembering the interaction they had together. Wow, he is even bigger than before. Good luck Gaki and come back for more if you like, thought Anko as she licked her lips. With Naruto. After about an hour of walking, Naruto looked behind only to see that the village was barely visible anymore. Smiling, he turned again and went forward to his first target of the book. Last night, before going to sleep, Naruto studied the bingo book with care in order to gauge his opponents. Starting from the C-level missing nins, Naruto was stunned to see one man named Nara Shishio listed as C-level missing nin. According to the bingo book, the man was responsible for raping some Konaha civilians and then leaving the girls at the park naked and blood all over their bodies. Thinking of the Nara clan, Naruto didn't actually know much about them outside their unrivaled skills on shadow manipulation. According to the Bingo book, though, Shishio's abilities with the shadow manipulation was limited to the shadow binding, being that the clan's weakest technique ever. Also, it says the man barely received the promotion to Chunin from showing proficiency with Suidan ninjutsu, so Naruto would have to be careful of the guy. Naruto was stunned to see that the Bingo book wasn't only describing the man's abilities and reason for defection, but also his whereabouts. According to the book, Shishio was found near the border between Wave and Fire Country. Apparently, he was residing in a village close to the border and it wouldn't take long to find him. Already on the move to Wave Country, Naruto remembered his first trip to Wave Country that took 2 days traveling. However, that time his team was walking since they were supposed to be escorting a civilian. Now jumping through trees, Naruto was remembering that particular mission and how ill his abilities were at the time. Not to mention how much you pissed your pants when the demon brothers attacked you, said Kyuubi on the verge of exploding himself in laughter upon imagining the scene, much to Naruto's discomfort. Please refrain from remembering me of moments such as these, okay? At least when Orochimaru was against me, I happened to put a good fight, thought Naruto, thus talking to the fox in his mindscape. If it weren't for me, you would have become snake food, back then, said Kyuubi, laughing his off right now, making Naruto wish to come inside the cage and shove a Rasenshuriken up Kyuubi's butt so as to teach a lesson. It was moments like these that Kyuubi showed his fun side, taunting Naruto and hearing his thoughts about it afterwards. Still, as Naruto traveled towards Wave Country, he couldn't help but think of the time ahead of him. He had Kyuubi to talk to, he could even summon Gamakichi for a little game, but other than that, he really didn't have anyone to talk to. Even worse was the fact that he couldn't mingle very much with others from fear that news of his whereabouts wouldn't be safe anymore. Putting his thought aside for the moment, Naruto focused on the battle ahead. Even though the man was considered AC level missing nin, Naruto could very well get caught if he wasn't careful. After a while of traveling, Naruto suddenly heard a sound of woman screaming. Therefore, he went towards the source to see what was happening. Upon arrival, he suddenly clenched his fists in anger at the sight. According to his view from the tree, he could see his target forcing his way into what appeared a brunette civilian, since he couldn't see any headband. Also, no kunoichi would get caught like this, unless it was a group that kidnapped her. Mentally kicking himself in the gut from taking advantage of the raping, Naruto took 2 kunais from his pouch and carefully aimed against the neck of the shadow user. Little did Naruto know, however, that the girl was extremely familiar. Tsunami was visiting a couple of friends who were residing in the village closest to the border between Wave and Fire Country when this man captured her by using his shadow. No, she was forever cursing her existence as the man was literally taking advantage of her fragile strength. Tsunami was by no means naive about such a thing happening to her eventually, however, because of the peaceful times in Wave Country, now thanks to a team of Konaha ninjas, she thought she wouldn't have any trouble. However, when this Shishio character caught her, she was defenseless. It didn't help that the guy was laughing at her desperate cries of pain and anger. Suddenly, Tsunami heard a sound of knife-piercing flesh and turned to look at the aggressor who was already killed. Looking at the guy's neck, Tsunami almost shouted upon seeing 2 knives embedded against the man's neck, almost cutting his head off. Instantly, Tsunami picked whatever clothes remained and covered her body. She was trembling now in unconditional fear. Whoever did this would surely kill her as well. Suddenly, a big man wearing all black and a white mask landed in front of her and looked at the Nara clan member dead. Serves you right, moron, said Naruto as he began to study to see if the man was truly dead before cutting his head off and burn the body. Should anyone capture this man, the Nara clan would be in serious disadvantage. I have to destroy him, thought Naruto as he took his katana in order to cut his head, however he stopped upon hearing the woman breathing hard and trembling in fear. Upon looking at the woman, Naruto was appalled to see that the girl was no other than Tsunami, Inari's mother and Tezuna's daughter. God damn it, what is she doing here? Wave is very far away from here. Was she kidnapped? I must take her to Tazuna, then. Off to Wave Country, then. Tsunami-san, don't be scared of me. I was after this guy. Would you please close your eyes for a moment? What I about to do won't be pleasant to the untrained eye, said Naruto, calming the woman down a bit, since she kind of recognized the voice, but it seemed a more masculine voice than she remembered. Naruto, is that you? No, it can't be, but how does he knows my name? Thought Tsunami, but complied with the man's request. After Tsunami closed her eyes, Naruto cut the man's head fast, managing to sever the man's head without spilling much blood. Afterwards, he channeled a bit of Kyuubi's chakra and proceeded with the hand seals for Kaden Makai no Kan, fire style. Hell Blaze Jutsu, exhaling a thin line of fire which upon contact with the body, engulfed it completely in flames. Afterwards, he kept the man's head inside a scroll and summons Gamakichi in order to take the scroll to Konaha for the bounty. After the toad left, Naruto authorized for Tsunami to open her eyes, to which she did, only to blink in surprise that where the body of the rapist was located, now only flames could be seen. Tsunami-san, are you alright? Asked Naruto, but was surprised that Tsunami flinched from the sudden touch of his hands. Nonetheless, he sighed and left the woman be for the moment. He didn't know how to deal with post-traumatic disorder, but he needed to take Tsunami to Tazuna. After a while of waiting for the woman to stop shaking, he heard the faint whispering of his name from the woman and turned to look at her. Yes, it is me, Tsunade-san. However, I can't take off my mask out here in the open. Here, take my jacket and cover yourself. We'll need to take you back to your house, said Naruto before taking off his blouse and handing over to Tsunami, who appreciated the gesture and dressed the black jacket. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Once again you come to the rescue, isn't it? Asked Tsunami, already breathing more relaxed, to which Naruto just nodded. The Hokage's office. Back in Konaha, Tsunade and the leader of the Hunter Nin division was talking about the new recruit. Tsunade was surprised to see the man complimenting Naruto's abilities both with the sword and ninjutsu. Suddenly, when Tsunade was about to open her mouth in agreement towards the man's assessment of Naruto's abilities, when Gamakichi appeared in the office, carrying with himself a scroll that Naruto handed to him. Message from Sheet Death, for you Hunter Nin, said the toad, handing the scroll, to which the man opened and started to read. Leader Sama, I found sea-level missing Nin Nara Shishio on the way to Wave Country, continuing his favorite activity with a civilian. I took advantage of the situation and embedded his neck with 2 kunais, thus killing him as per my assignment. Below this letter lies the kanji for his head. It goes without saying that I already burned his body, and by now his ashes must be reaching Iwa by now. After reading, the leader smiled behind his mask and released the dead man's head, holding the man's hair with his hands. He began, then, to analyze the man's expression and smiled upon seeing that the man was caught by surprise. Also, the leader was surprised by the clean cut near the man's neck, peculiar to a katana. Meanwhile, Tsunade was appalled by the man's smile over seeing a dead man's head, also wondering if Naruto was the one who actually did this. Azuki-san, I would appreciate if you didn't do that in front of me, it's rather appalling just to watch. Said Tsunade, to which the man known as Azuki Geishi, Yugo's uncle, offered his sincere apologies. My apologies, Tsunade-sama, I was just admiring my new recruit's work some. Gamikichi, take this scroll and hand it to she, it will cover the amount for AC ranked missing Nin as well as beating an old record of mine, hiahe. This guy is interesting, said Geishi before vanishing, leaving Tsunade and Gamakichi alone in the room. Gamakichi, when you saw Naruto, did he look disgusted by doing this? Asked Tsunade, slightly afraid of seeing someone as Naruto lose his innocence for good. No, Tsunade-sama, bro was quite normal. Although, I'd refrain from judging him because of this. According to bro, this man was raping an old friend of his, so I believe what he did was just. Anyway, He must be waiting for me to arrive with the payment, said Gamakichi, to which Tsunade nodded, and then the toad vanished, leaving the blonde Hokage alone. Naruto, you have to attain your level of humanity in order to come alive from this job. The more you kill, the more you'll appreciate doing it again. Be careful out there, thought Tsunade. With Naruto. While Gamakichi was getting his bounty regarding his first kill, Naruto was talking to the older woman, now more comfortable to what happened. Since the guy wasn't able to finish the raping, Tsunami would eventually get over it. Would the man finish the job, Tsunami would be scarred for life. The woman was surprised to see this new Naruto in contrast to the one she met almost 4 years ago. The Naruto she knew had this spark within him that was able to make everyone smile. This one, though, was more reserved, collected, and strangely more mature than normally a man would be at his age. Tsunami was also surprised about Naruto's choice of profession, seeing that Naruto would always travel alone, without a soul to talk to or release some stress. At some point, Tsunami asked about the other ones from Naruto's team, to which Naruto promptly responded by saying that Sakura and Kakashi were the same as usual and Sasuke was training under a strong ninja. Tsunami wouldn't know of Orochimaru, thus telling her that Sasuke was now a missing nin wouldn't be really relevant. When Gamakichi arrived with the bounty and then disappeared, Naruto got up and ushered Tsunami to get up as well. Smiling at him, Tsunami felt a wave of safety, and all of that was thanks to the blonde. Somehow, the whole story of being raped was the past, and now she would come back to her house and everything would be okay. All thanks to the blonde who by now was her hero. Are you some kind of angel, Naruto-kun? Asked Tsunami, surprising Naruto a lot, from hearing that term for the first time. You can see the irony of this, isn't it? The one with a demon inside of him being called an angel, said Kyuubi inside his mind. Angel? I don't think so, just being the right place at the right time, said Naruto as he walked towards her house in Wave Country, making Tsunami giggle at the modest comment. Well, I believe you're an angel that came to help Wave Country, and now you saved me from being victim of rape, said Tsunami, grabbing Naruto's arm and leaning strangely closer to him. Shit, I was afraid of this happening, thought Naruto, to which the fox concurred and manifested. Since you're the one who saved her, she's showing feelings to her savior. You're in for quite a ride, there Naruto. However, this Tsunami is quite a looker, don't you think? Maybe you could get a rise at her before dumping her at her father's house, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto sighed, seeing that the fox was helpless. Pervert Kitsune. That would be wrong. I'll admit she is pretty and all, but she is vulnerable right now. Her head is a mess right now, I can't take advantage of her, thought Naruto, making Kyuubi growl and mumble about stupid blonde and his politically correct behavior. However, the fox wasn't the problem this time. Naruto was afraid that she would get physical with him, if the whole feeling his arm was any indication. Tsunami for her part was indeed feeling the blonde's arms and was quite mesmerized by the size and shape of Naruto's biceps. Naruto could have sworn at some point, he heard a little moaning from the woman while groping his arms and now his chest. Tsunami-san, what are you doing? Asked Naruto, now getting uncomfortable with the woman's hands caressing his chest. Oh, nothing Naruto-kun, I was just getting to feel your body a little bit. I was under the impression you were enjoying. You aren't dating anyone, are you? Asked Tsunami, now making Naruto really uncomfortable. Of course, he liked the feeling of a woman's touch just like any other man, especially one at his age. Don't get me wrong here Tsunami-san, I was enjoying and no, I'm not dating anyone. However, you've just been through a traumatic event, therefore what you're doing is just because I was the one who saved you, said Naruto, almost on the verge of begging the girl to stop, so as to avoid having to reject her. Naruto, I appreciate the concern and all, but I assure you that no feelings will arise from me about you. I just wanted, you know, to release some stress. This was a much stressed situation for me and I'm now in need to blow off some steam. You don't have to worry about me having feelings for you, Naruto-kun. You're a great guy and someday, we'll make a girl really happy, but right now, I'm needy and I want right now, shouted Tsunami, almost on the verge of scandal, to which Naruto sighed, seeing no other alternative. Yeah, right. Just admit that you wanted to have with her and you'll feel a lot better, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded. Man, first Anko, now Tsunami, said Naruto, to which the fox scowled at him from sounding like complaining. Pure shinobi, I feel so sorry for you. That snake lady almost rocked your world and now this woman is in need for some hot. What do you think she'll do to you? Hehehe, asked Kyuubi while laughing like a perverted demon. Okay, Tsunami-san. We'll be arriving at a village shortly. Once there, we'll rent a room, said Naruto, to which Tsunami nodded and began daydreaming about feeling a man's body for the first time since Kaiza. At the hotel, after the temporary couple rented a room, Naruto took off his mask for the first time since leaving Konaha. After that, he quickly closed the drapes and turned to see Tsunami approaching him. Naruto was getting excited just by seeing the way the older woman walked sexily at him, swinging her hips in a teasing manner. However, Naruto was in control of his body, therefore he waited for Tsunami to come over to him so that they could begin. When the brunette stood face to face with Naruto, she reached his cheeks with her left hand and began caressing it as she landed AL. Naruto, however, was already lost in control, simply because of Tsunami's soft hands caressing his weak spot. After the initiation of the makeout section, Naruto used his both hands and began to caress Tsunami's body by either embracing her or caressing her butt a little bit. Tsunami, upon feeling Naruto caressing her from behind, smiled at the boy. No, man's initiative. Aren't you hot inside all these clothes, Naruto-kun? How about we take it off so I can feel your whole body, whispered Tsunami in a tone, making Naruto smile and enter the game of teasing he held dear so much. Of course, Tsunami, wouldn't like to keep you waiting, now would I? Said Naruto as he took off his jacket and his fishnet shirt, leaving his upper body visible to Tsunami, who by chance, began caressing every inch of it with blood running down her nose a little bit. While Tsunami was passing her hand on Naruto's chest, Naruto's hand was already massaging the girl's, making her moan quite a bit, arousing Naruto even more than he was before. Remembering on the whole blowing off some steam, Naruto bent towards her neck and began to lick, earning more moans from the brunette. Not one to lose a teasing battle, Tsunami grabbed Naruto's hair and pulled it, sending his head up, leaving his neck wide open for attack. After she initiated the tongue sequence, Naruto pretty much lost control of his will. The way Tsunami was sucking his neck, Naruto was proud to say that he never felt better in his entire life. You like this, don't you, Naruto-kun? You like how my tongue licks your entire body? Teased Tsunami, who in turn was thrilled to have such control on a man like Naruto. You know, if you ask nicely, I can do the same thing down there for you, said Tsunami before her hand grabbed Naruto's from outside the pants and began to massage it smoothly, making Naruto shiver in excitement and anticipation. That would be great, however I have something else to do first, whispered Naruto close to her ear and began to massage the area in which her was located, making Tsunami moan in excitement and also smiling at Naruto's experience. You know, Tsunami, you are wearing way too many clothes. Care to take it all off? Said Naruto, to which the brunette complied and took her kimono off, leaving nothing on her body, making Naruto tremble in pleasure. Quote. After dropping Tsunami in Wave Country, Naruto was now seated on the beach contemplating his next target in the bingo book. However, memories of dropping Tsunami came in full view and he knew now that his chosen path was the right one for him. He couldn't afford to be seen anywhere that might endanger his plan of being blown. Naruto was able to recognize some people looking at him in suspicion while in Wave, so he needed to vanish. After that, he appeared on the beach and took his bingo book for his next target. Using a red pen, he made a huge cross on Nara Shishio's page indicating that he was already killed, thus moving on to the next page. C-ranked missing nin called Makoto Shinji was banned from Konoha because of the murder of his genin comrade on a mission near T country. At the time, Shinji blamed the enemy for casting a genjutsu on him, thus manipulating him to kill his comrade. However, according to the report made by the responsible Junin at the time, stated that no genjutsu was ever casted, and thus eliminating the man's only line of defense. As for his location, his last whereabouts were near Suna village, where he tried establishing himself within one of their villages. I think I'll pay a visit to Gaara, maybe he has some information about the man, thought Naruto as he got up and left Wave Country by once again passing through the bridge that was nominated after him, even though if it wasn't for Kakashi, Zabuza would have killed all of them without even breaking a sweat. However, there was something he wouldn't ever say it to the Silver Man's face. After stepping his foot on Fire Country, he picked up a map and draw his trip to Suna. From where he stood, he would have to cross the entire Fire Country, then passing by River Country, thus enter the desert that is Wind Country. After a day, perhaps a day and a half, he would reach the hidden village. Remember that you're not supposed to be seen, so you'll need to contact the case cage without anyone from the village seeing you, advised Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded and thought. I know that, I'll just have to figure something out when I arrive there. Wind Country is very big, I'd be searching for Shinji endlessly, thought Naruto, to which the Kyuubi turned to think. Presenting yourself as a hunter nin from Konoha would draw suspicions, however if you try getting in by using henge then I believe it's safer, said the fox. In order for that to work, though, I'll have to sneak in the village from another way other than the gate. I'll need to stay in a hotel and then reach Gaara, thought Naruto, to which the Kyuubi manifested his consent and proceeded on his trip. Crossing Fire Country would take a day if he uses chakra to give a little push. That being said, Naruto channeled some chakra through his feet and started the trip. Along the way, he was focusing chakra on his nose as well in order to sense when danger would arise. In Konoha, Tsunade was reading some report about a mission when Kakashi arrived to talk. What can I do for you, Kakashi? Said Tsunade, to which Kakashi took his eyes off his book and looked at the blonde Hokage. Are we going on that line, Tsunade-sama? I need to know the fake story so Sakura won't ask. Also, I believe that we need to contact Kurenai and Shikamaru, seeing that he is now the one responsible for Team 10 inches, asked Kakashi, to which Tsunade sighed and nodded with the Junin. Also call Jiraiya, he'll need to run some counterintelligence on this one, said Tsunade. After all were gathered in the room, Tsunade addressed them all at once. Greeting everyone, I called this meeting to discuss Naruto's situation inside of Konoha. Shikamaru, even though you're not a Junin yet, you are here as responsible for Team 10. Some of you know and some of you don't, but Naruto, since 2 days ago, became a hunter nin for Konoha. Also, yesterday I received his first victim. Nara Shishio was expelled from Konoha from being responsible of many rapes throughout Konoha. Naruto caught him trying to rape yet another girl and he was eliminated, said Tsunade, before earning a look of surprise from Shikamaru, who could only mean that he knew the man. Before you ask, Shikamaru, he was your half-uncle. Also, I'm here to tell all the ones who don't yet know that he chose this job so as to take Akatsuki off Konoha. However, in order for them not to know about Naruto, he proposed ensuring him a mission to meet the pervert here's spy network. Now as to his real documentation, it will be locked inside this office at all times. As of this moment, Naruto's whereabouts will be labeled as a B-ranked level secret, only until he returns to being a regular shinobi. Any questions? Asked Tsunade, but surprisingly Kurenai only nodded and Shikamaru was silent. Kurenai-san, I understand if you're uncomfortable talking about H, said Tsunade, but was interrupted by the woman who smiled and addressed everyone. It's not that, Hokage-sama. I realized that the death of Asuma was what drove me to say all those things to Naruto and I apologized to him. Also, he told me of the hunter nin position. However, I'm afraid to say I tried to convince him to back off the position, but he didn't even listen to me. That kid only bother going forward, thus not dwelling on the past. I thought that he would have trouble, but I guess I was wrong, said Kurenai, to which Tsunade smiled and turned to explain a little thing about Naruto's job. Only for your knowledge, I'll be explaining some aspects of Naruto's job. First, Naruto received 2 books, one being the bingo book of our missing nins and another that all hunter nins and anbus have it as well, that is a gathering of missing nins from all of the elemental nations. His targets are the one from the bingo book and he receives the reward that anyone would receive by killing the man. So far, Naruto is on the C-ranked pages, thus killing only the ones he can beat. After a while, he'll start taking on B-ranked, then A-ranked. However, I intend to revoke his Hunter Nin license when he reaches the S-ranked ones. As of right now, only 3 ninjas are listed as S-ranked missing nin, and those are Uchiha Sasuke, Uchiha Itachi and Orochimaru, said Tsunade, to which Kakashi nodded, and this time Jiraiya moved in. I wouldn't agree with you on this point, Tsunade Hime. You forgot that you're not talking about Naruto anymore. This new being has the body of Uzumaki Naruto, but the mind of both him and the fox, thus he is now proficient in fighting against any type of enemy. My guess is that the fox wouldn't want a weak vessel, so he will stop at nothing to bring Naruto into shape in order to battle against the S-ranked level missing nins. According to Naruto himself, he used the 2-month training in order to improve his Fuden affinity and also learn the Kaden affinity that is peculiar to the fox. Also, I found that Naruto was carrying a katana, so Kyuubi must be teaching him a kenjutsu style that could help him. Now, I'll be running some counterintelligence and be constantly filling his mission report with fake locations of my spy network. This way we'll be able to keep Akatsuki from capturing Naruto and also find who is spying for Akatsuki within these walls, said Jiraiya, earning surprised looks from Kurenai and Shikamaru. How can you know that someone is passing information to Akatsuki? Asked Shikamaru, to which Tsunade chose to answer. We have reasons to believe that Akatsuki is receiving information regarding the village's situations. It was strange how just after Konaha was victorious after the sand invasion, Itachi and Kisame was here and tried to capture Naruto. Also, Jiraiya's spy network warned him about Akatsuki mobilizing towards Fire Country after leaving Kumo, where they managed to capture the 2-tailed Jinchuriki. We don't know if Orochimaru also has a spy inside Konoha as well, but we are sure Akatsuki has one and we'll use Naruto's fake mission in order to find him, said Tsunade, before earning a nod from Shikamaru. Tsunade-sama, how did he go on his first one? I mean, although I wasn't around much, he's still my student, asked Kakashi with his head down, to which Tsunade recognized it as guilt. Kakashi, I don't know if you'll be proud of him or disgusted, but according to the hunter nin in charge of the program, Naruto severed the man's head by using his sword, also he was admired by the clean cut of the man's head. To a hunter nin, Naruto was efficient, to a human being, I would say he was vicious, said Tsunade, to which Kakashi nodded. I'd say he was more human than you think, Tsunade-sama. As you said, Shishio was raping someone when Naruto caught him, so he had it coming. Naruto doesn't kill just for the kill, at least from what I know of him, said Kakashi, to which Tsunade nodded. I just hope you're right, Kakashi. Being a hunter nin for so long can really change a man, and even though the missing nin deserves punishment, a hunter nin won't take anything to consideration and just kill him should the opportunity arise, said Tsunade, to which everyone nodded except Shikamaru. This was the path he chose by himself for himself. Maybe he'll become a vicious killer, maybe he'll become the only capable of dealing against our toughest opponents. It's too troublesome, but as Kurenai-san said so herself, Naruto only looks forward and won't stop at nothing so that his goal, whatever that is, can be fulfilled, said Shikamaru, once again receiving nods from the group. We all hope so, Shikamaru, concluded Jiraiya. With Naruto back to the hunter nin, he was already half away from reaching River Country, so he decided to take a rest. While resting for a bit, Naruto was considering his next step for training. Even with the 2 months training, He knew he could take a B-level missing nin, however A and S ones were obviously 10 times as tough, so he needed to train and gain more knowledge. You needn't worry about Kenjutsu and Kaden Ninjutsu training. I have plenty of material for us to practice. However, we have to do something about your affinity. As of right now, I believe you have the equivalent of Fuden chakra control as of Asuna Chunin. You need to be on pair with a Junin in terms of skill to be able to beat A-ranked missing nins. Maybe you could ask this Gara person if we would share some exercises or at least 2 high-leveled Fuden techniques, told Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded but was somewhat uncomfortable with simply entering and asking for the Kazekage to share his village's secrets, thus sending the impression of espionage. However, he thought that asking wouldn't hurt to ask. After 30 minutes have passed, Naruto got up and continued his trip. While traveling, he was considering the last time he was in River Country and the time Gaara was captured by Akatsuki. He knew that River Country was famous for its hot springs. So he would find a hotel near one and simply relax a bit, even if he has to do it under a henge. A couple hours later, he was crossing the border of River Country and out to find a place to stay for the night. Camping outside was out of the question, since he, then, needed to be on guard for possible threats and wouldn't be able to rest at all. After finding a hotel with hot springs, Naruto asked for a room. Quickly shutting the drapes, so as not to call attention, he took his mask off together with his clothes so as to take a nice long bath. He let go of the idea of joining the hot springs simply because it would be extremely tiring to use henge, thus not being able to rest. All you need is a couple hours of sleeping while I take away the strain on your muscles from the trip, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded and proceeded with the shower. After that, he summoned some sleeping clothes and just let his eyes slowly close as he got accustomed to a nice bed. The next day, Naruto woke up and without further delay, he changed into his hunter nin clothes and checked out of the hotel, not even bothering to have breakfast. Quickly finding a dango stand, Naruto bought a few and eat while on the way to Wind Country. Unfortunately, Naruto wasn't aware of how large River Country actually was, so he couldn't know how much time he would take to cross the country. However, he knew that he needed all his rest to cross the desert and reach Suna, so he chose to find another place to stay near the border between River and Wind Country. Take your time, Naruto, and let's get some practice before you proceed with your trip. Find an open and secure place. When you find it, summon 10 clones to learn a new Kaden Jutsu that I remembered seeing it once. Also, I'll be adding 5 more pounds on each of your limbs, so it will be Kenjutsu training combined with strength and speed as well, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto at first complained, however he complied in the end since he would have to see a place at the end of the day anyway. Right, now that you found the place, the jutsu is called Kaden Kasumi Enbu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Mist Waltz Jutsu, and what it does is create a large combustible mist that when in contact with fire, it will ignite in an explosion. I'll send the hand seals sequence through your brain and some explanations for you to practice on, however this jutsu must require some flame to ignite, otherwise it won't do any good, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto complied, thus summoning the needed clones to perform the technique. Now, it's time to raise the weights a little bit, said Kyuubi. After the process was completed, Naruto kneeled down a bit because of the extra weight and slowly lifted. When he got accustomed to the weight, he took his katana and traveled through the katas that Kyuubi taught him. While he was doing that, the clones were trying the new jutsu, however none of them were getting even closer to perfecting the technique. One clone did manage to blow a thin layer that resembled combustion mist, but other than that no such luck. For this jutsu to work, you have to do the seals perfectly and then gather the most amount of air inside your lungs as you can and simply blow it, said Kyuubi as he instructed the clones to try it once again. While the clones were going at it, Naruto was dancing with his sword as he viciously slashed through every single imaginary opponent that went to face him. By now, Naruto's proficiency with the sword was enough to be a Chunin level, however in order for him to become a Junin in terms of skill with the sword, experience would be the only training method available. After a while of slashes, Naruto stopped to rest a little bit and looked at his clones when suddenly a huge combustion mist appeared from the mouth of one clone and the other threw an exploding tag in it, thus creating a rather large explosion in front of the clones. Jutsu mastered. Naruto. Now rest for 10 minutes and then let's head to the desert, ordered Kyuubi, making Naruto snort at the fox for acting like he was the boss or something like that. You'll learn to respect me, pathetic imbecile. I'm teaching you all these and I expect that you treat me with respect, shouted Kyuubi, to which Naruto sighed and explained to the fox. Never had I disrespected you, Baka Kitsune. It was just that the last thing you said sounded more like an order, thought Naruto, to which Kyuubi ignored and cut off the link, leaving Naruto to talk to himself. Ignoring the fox's bitching, Naruto rested for a little while and then got up to head towards Wind Country. On the way, Naruto was considering how he could improve the control of his Fuden chakra, since he already made the 2 exercises required for being able to perform Fuden ninjutsu. Why not controlling the air? Asked Kyuubi, as in barging in Naruto's thinking. How can someone control the air? There just isn't possible, is it? Thought Naruto, as in wondering if Fuden users could somehow manipulate the air molecules to the point of molding it. A few ancient Fuden users in the past were able to control the air to an extent, but I never put my hand in this, because it's not within my elemental limits. Nevertheless, imagine the possibilities of being able to control the air. You can make the air thicker by adding chakra or make it lighter where you can flow. You could also control it to the point of being able to increase air pressure or even gravity if you concentrate hard enough, mumbled Kyuubi some of his knowledge, to which Naruto smiled at the prospect of being able to do such a thing. However, as you know or do not know, air molecules are consisted of oxygen and hydrogen, thus being the molecules that, while together, generate water. I believe that the Nadaime Hokage was able to use Suiden ninjutsu just by using the air molecules, thus generating water. I don't know if you have to learn Suiden manipulation in order to be able to control air, thought Kyuubi, to which Naruto asked a question. If what you're saying it's right, then I wouldn't need to worry about hydrogen, since my interest wouldn't be generating water. My interest would be to control the wind that travels throughout the air, thus don't need to gather air inside my lungs, thought Naruto, to which Kyuubi nodded. You are onto something here, Naruto. If you were able to use the wind around us instead of gathering it in your lungs, then the attacks will be much faster and precise. Not to mention that chakra won't be an issue here since you got plenty to use, said the fox. Well, what can I do to sense the wind around me, then? Asked Naruto before hearing the noise of the fox, thinking. You pathetic humans can't feel it like I do, otherwise your control would much better by now. You'd have to try meditation. Only by closing your eyes and relaxing your chakra flow, can you sense the wind passing by. However, to attain such form of relaxation, you'd have to be patient. It's not just that close your eyes, you'll need some time standing still, with a clear mind and a clear spirit. Only then, can you feel it, said Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded and already envisioned himself standing still. Won't work, fox. I have too much chakra to just ease the chakra circulation, complained Naruto. That's why I say it isn't easy, imbecile. Air is a force of nature, therefore, you have to be one with the air. Only then, can you feel the air around you, concluded Kyuubi, earning a nod from Naruto, who didn't even notice he was staring at the river, Wind Country border in front of him. Looking around, he was glad he found an inn right on his left. With Jiraiya. After getting out of Tsunade's office, Jiraiya initiated his counterintelligence mission towards Naruto. He already gave false information about Naruto being in T-Country meeting some people and then would head straight to Marsh Country where he would meet another group. However, Jiraiya wasn't counting on Naruto actually being where he informed. Being that, he summoned Gamakichi in order to see where the Gaki was located right now. Hey, where's bro? Why do you summon me, pervert? Shouted Gamakichi as he looked down at the Sannin. Gamakichi, just like Naruto, grew up and now stood a great 20 feet of height. Of course, that didn't mean Jiraiya wasn't offended and found the lack of respect to be rather infuriating. "You better treat me with respect, Gaki, or else I'll tell your father," shouted Jiraiya as he crossed his arms. "My dad, I wouldn't do that if I were you. He was the one who taught me what a pervert you really are, and the bro just confirmed the story," laughed Gamakichi before seeing the look of surprise by the Sannin. "Forget about that. I need you to inform me of Naruto's whereabouts. Where is he now and where is he heading?" asked Jiraiya, to which Gamakichi promptly answered. "Right now, he is at the border between river and wind country. He'll be heading to a village near Suna in order to capture the second missing nin in the bingo book, named Shinji something, I don't know," said Gamakichi, to which Jiraiya nodded and smiled since his counterintelligence was in full force. Now, the only thing left to do was to spread the counterintelligence information so that his spy network can spread the false information. Jiraiya would never think of such plan, and he actually enjoyed this counterintelligence position. The next day, Naruto checked out of the inn and was not stepping on the desert when his fellow toad appeared. Gamakichi appeared in his mini form and informed of Jiraiya's conversation yesterday and him asking where Naruto was at the moment. Gamakichi also informed that for Jiraiya's counterintelligence to work, Naruto would have to inform the pervert where he would be heading so that Jiraiya could spread the information that Naruto's located on the other side of the elemental nations. Upon hearing this, Naruto nodded and appreciated the info. Before leaving, though, Gamakichi extended a question made by his father Gamabunta as to why he wasn't summoned in a while. Naruto, then, informed that because of his identity being a secret, summoning the Toad boss would ruin everything. Naruto, then, assured Gamakichi that once he has the ability to face Akatsuki, he'd summon the boss. Satisfied with the answer, Gamakichi vanished, thus leaving Naruto to begin his travel towards Suna. The desert was tricky to pass by because of some sandstorms that seems to appear out of nowhere. However, as he traveled, Naruto channeled chakra through his ears in order to hear some loud manifestations of wind so as to know when a hurricane is coming his way. He remembered the last time he went to the place and figured that it would take at least 2 or 3 hours before the village is visible. After a while of traveling, Naruto stopped to see the valley where the village was located right in front of him. Focusing chakra through his eyes so as to see any traps that may pinpoint his location, Naruto frowned as his eyes caught sight of several seals in front of him, which could only be chakra detection seals or a trap of sort to catch the infiltrator. For you to be able to pass these seals undetected, you'll need some teachings in the art of Fuinjutsu, Naruto. Although it's kind of a lost art to you humans, Fuinjutsu masters are feared throughout the elemental nations from being unpredictable. Maybe you can ask that Sannin you call him Aro Sennin to lend you some material, explained Kyubi. Okay, but if I were to pass by this without Fuinjutsu knowledge, what should I do? Asked Naruto, before hearing the fox speaking. Oh, it's pretty easy once you realize the seal's location. Just mold chakra towards the seal's direction and disrupt the chakra that happens to make the seal work. It's kind of like dispelling genjutsu. However, instead of disrupting the flow of chakra all over your body, you'll have to focus on a certain point, say the seal, taught Kyubi, to which Naruto turned to think about it for a moment. The blonde was beating himself right now over not worrying to learn more about disrupting genjutsu when he could, and now he had to improvise. Reaching a conclusion, Naruto sighed and started counting how much seals there were to be dispelled. When he counted the last one, he was surprised that only 5 of them were positioned on this side of the valley. I don't think they'd realize that someone would enter the village through the top of the valley. Now, focus on the seal and say Fuinkai, seal release, explained Kyubi, to which Naruto nodded and began the seal dispelling. After breaking the first one, Naruto realized his mistake as all the 4 started to glow, which indicated a trap. Quick Naruto, the seals are linked with each other. You have to disrupt all 4 of them as quickly as possible, shouted the fox. Not wanting to lose one of them, Naruto summoned 3 cage bunchins and sent them to disrupt the other 3 while he would disrupt the 4th one. Letting the air he didn't know he was holding, Naruto looked at the village from above for a place to land until he could reach the ground. Observing the village for a while, he found that he was right in front of a dead alley that practically no one would see him land. Quickly dashing to the nearest landing point, Naruto began his movements down the valley until he reached the ground safely. Looking around for any shinobi or kunoichi that could spot him, he found that no one was around. He could say he was lucky to spot a hotel nearby, but considering what he's been through his whole life, luck wouldn't be the word to describe it. So, he went into the hotel, while in a henge, and picked up a room. After he entered the room, he went to the balcony and turned to investigate the distance to get to the cage tower undetected. He knew that Gaara was a night person from not being able to sleep when Shukaku was inside of him, so he knew he could sneak into the tower undetected at night and have a nice conversation with his friend, the cage. At night, looking at the village at night, he was surprised to see quite a lot of shinobi doing some patrols around the village. However, he knew the reason to this. Deidara of Akatsuki was able to pretty much approach the cage tower without anyone seeing him, so Gaara must have tightened security so that no one can come in here. Foxes are the most cunning of animals, Naruto. Why do you think you were able to get in placed undetected or escape Junins and Anbus before starting to learn about being a shinobi? Said Kyuubi, to which Naruto nodded and turned to leave the building and charged towards the cage tower. As Naruto quickly dashed around, avoiding security, he found that the ones doing patrol wasn't all experienced, since they only turned when Naruto was already far away from such place. However, because of this being like second nature to him, Naruto didn't need any chakra, therefore, being quite difficult to detect his presence, except by actually seeing him. After a while of evading security, he was now in front of the cage tower. Looking up, he jumped towards the roof in order to reach Gaara's office through the window. Landing on the roof presumably unseen, he was surprised to see that Gaara was in front of him with his arms crossed. So much for infiltration, thought Naruto as he looked at his friend. What are you doing here, Naruto? Asked Gaara with a monotone voice, to which Naruto lifted from the ground. I wanted to talk to you for a little bit. Mind giving me a minute of Akage's time? Asked Naruto, earning a simple nod from Gaara. After Gaara nodded, began explaining what happened since they last seen each other and his decision towards Akatsuki. Upon hearing this, Gaara was actually surprised for the first time in his life. However, he let Naruto continue his story so that afterwards he could ask questions. When Naruto finished saying that he was after Shinji, Gaara lifted his eyebrow at the mention of the name and told that Suna was after this man as well. To say that Naruto was surprised, it would be an understatement. He thought about talking to Gaara about the man for some information about his more precise whereabouts, but never would he guess that the man was wanted in Suna as well. In Konaha, he's considered a C-level missing nin, however I have the feeling that he's more than that, since you guys want him too. What did he do to earn Suna's trail? Asked Naruto, to which Gaara crossed his arms and turned to answer. Shinji broke in recently and stole one of the village's most precious scrolls. The scroll was created by Nadaime Kazekage, who was a legend in wind manipulation. Some said that he could control the air, but that was never proved since none of the enemies he presumably used lived to tell. The scroll related the third exercise needed to fully manipulate Fuden ninjutsu. Since you're hunting him, I'll come with you since the scroll is Suna's possession, and quite frankly, I'm quite bored with doing paperwork all the time, said Gaara. Do you happen to know where he is, then? Asked Naruto, to which Gaara nodded. However, Gaara was already forgetting something and extremely important about the blonde's presence. Gaara forgot that Naruto didn't enter through the door, nor was he escorted here, which meant that he sneaked in. Yes, I know where he is, however I'm not sure as to why and how you were able to reach this place undetected, said Gaara before seeing Naruto scratch his head in annoyance, indicating that he didn't have much of a choice which he in fact didn't. In case you didn't listen, I can't be seen by anyone, so I had to sneak in without anyone seeing me. As to how, I'll leave it up to you to figure out, mumbled Naruto as he shrugged his shoulders as in not his problem, earning quite the angry face from Gaara, which resembled that of Shukaku. Okay, I'll tell you. First, I entered the village from the top and then dashed towards the non-populated area of the village. After that, I hid inside a nearby hotel and waited for night to appear. When said time approached, I came here without any of your guard noticing me, explained Naruto as though it was the simplest thing in the world. However, the cage wasn't so thrilled since his village once again suffered a breach in security, which meant that no matter how much trouble he had coming up with a solution to this problem, once again one man was able to sneak in and once again reach the cage's office without anyone noticing. Naruto, after noticing that Gaara was in deep thinking, sighed and turned to question the man about the missing nin. Naruto, I'm afraid I won't be able to guide you through this hunting because of your little breaking in. So, I'll be asking you a favor and return the scroll that is rightfully Suna's possession, asked Gaara, to which made Naruto think. I'll do it. Also, seeing that my affinity is wind, I am in need of further perfecting such manipulation. I've already done the 2 exercises needed, but I know I don't have what it takes to fully control it. Could you offer me some advice? Asked Naruto, to which Gaara turned to think. Being the wind shadow of his village, he was well aware of how Fudan ninjutsu worked and how could a person increase its control. However, such information would be limited to Suna, thus sharing with the blonde would act as treason. Sorry Naruto, but such information is considered Suna's secret, thus I can't reveal it. I'm well aware of your problem with your new Fudan technique and how much pain was caused, since every aspect of Akatsuki is shared between the villages. So, I can't help you, said Gaara, to which Naruto nodded as in dismissing the issue. Okay, just tell me where the guy is and tell me where and who should I deliver the scroll? Asked the blonde before seeing Gaara vanish for a while and then appear. This first scroll contains the map of the man's location. After you retrieve the scroll, just send it here via summon, as I'm sure you have a contract with the toads, said Gaara, earning a nod from Naruto, who in turn said his goodbye and jumped back to the ground in order to leave Suna through the same way he entered, thus leaving Gaara to analyze the blonde's escape for future references regarding security. With Naruto, after getting some safe distance from the village, Naruto looked at the map in order to find Shinji's location and perhaps the scroll containing Fudan ninjutsu training. Looking at the direction needed, he stored the map inside his weapon holster and charged towards the destination. It wasn't long until he stood in front of what appeared to be a deserted village in the middle of the desert. According to the bingo book, the man was quite proud of a peculiar line of cloth that consisted of a vest that resembled a Konaha Chunin vest, although in black color. However, upon looking at the handful of people that appeared on the streets, Naruto sighed, seeing that the man wouldn't simply be walking around, waiting for someone to kill him. After all, he isn't a missing nin for nothing. Another aspect of the job of being a hunter nin is understand what a missing nin thinks, what he does to stay out of trouble and what he doesn't. Even though this man was Naruto's second hunt, the blonde was already catching a few hints regarding C-ranked missing nins at least. He knew now that this type of missing nins are in a lot ways compared to criminals with shinobi training, simply because a criminal doesn't stop committing crimes, so it would be easy to spot them out of the crowd. However, as the rank was higher, the more difficult it would be to find a missing nin. The B1s and higher know how to avoid giving signals of his presence, and some are able to cast genjutsu to trick the pursuer into believing that the person isn't there. Luckily, the blonde had another pair of eyes to see in case he didn't see. Of course, Naruto wasn't seeing this as an advantage, seeing that the damn fox is in favor of sometimes make fun of its host. Don't blame me, meatbag, just your presence is enough for me to fall on the ground from laughing so much, laughed Kyuubi, to which Naruto snorted at the fox. I swear, one of these days I'll get in there and shove a Rasengan right up your thought Naruto before hearing laughter from the fox. However, it was more because of the impossible threat by the blonde. I'd like to see you try, Naruto. Also, I'm inside of you, moron. Either I or you can't hurt the other physically. So that being said, the only thing you can do to me is either having a stronger killer intent or winning on a verbal discussion between us. Since it will be virtually impossible for the first to happen, I'd say you stick to the second and we'll go from there, said Kyuubi before realizing that the damn brat stopped listening before he finished the explanation. Stupid brat, no respect. Outside the mental link, Naruto sighed seeing that it will be a long time before he accomplishes to win an argument against a 10,000 years old demon fox. Focusing on the task in hand, he turned left only to stop in front of the village's bar. Quickly using a henge's knot to arouse suspicion, Naruto entered the bar disguised as a samurai with long hair and an eye patch, wearing a white kimono. Upon entering, he gauged the crowd that turned their attention to see the newcomer. Not wanting to draw attention to him, Naruto quickly went to the bartender and ordered some hot sake. Naruto wasn't fond of drinking, simply because of having to drag the stupid toad Sanin from almost every bar they went because the man couldn't even carry himself. While the water was preparing Naruto's beverage, he turned to study the public so as to look for his prey. Suddenly, he saw a man that was drinking his third bottle of sake that happened to wear a black vest. Looking once again at the picture from the bingo book, Naruto recognized the man as being the one who is wanted dead in Konaha. After zipping the sake down his throat, he paid the man and called him to ask a question about the man on the other side of the balcony. The bartender, first, looked at Naruto with suspicion, but quickly dismissed from being extra paranoid and turned to reply. According to the man, he didn't know the man's name, however upon hearing that the man came from Kumo, the blonde realized that the man wasn't who he was looking for. However, when Naruto asked if the man came alone, Naruto was satisfied to know that the man had a twin brother who was expelled from Konoha from murdering a fellow ninja. Also, Naruto learned that the man would be arriving soon since he likes to wait a bit of time before starting to get drunk. Thanking the man, Naruto got up and left the bar so as to wait for the man to approach. However, he didn't need to wait long as a man identical to the one in the bar appeared some distance away. Seeing that the street was now empty except for the two of them, Naruto stopped the henge and charged the man while making hand signs in order to push him away from the commotion. Fuden Daitapa, wind style. Great breakthrough jutsu. By the time the man sensed Fuden chakra, he was already caught by the strong gust of wind, thus flying backwards. While flying, the man was mentally cursing himself from lowering his defenses and gets caught by the technique. Although the landing was quite rough, Shinji got up and started to assess this time's opponent. Konaha again bothering me, don't you people have more to do? Shouted Shinji, to which Naruto lifted his shoulders and answered. I can't help it, you know. It's my job to hunt you people, you understand that right? Trust me, there are plenty stuff for me to do than having to track you down and kill you. Do you know how hard it is for us to travel all around just to find one imbecile who chose to leave the village, said Naruto. After hearing this, the man was taken by surprise. Most hunter nins he faced always came with the same crap about dealing with the ones that threaten the village's well-being. So you don't care about the village and all that crap you people say? Asked Shinji, to which Naruto lifted his eyebrow in surprise at the question. Considering your rank, I wouldn't be concerned about Konoha's well-being. An elite chunin could neutralize you in seconds, said Naruto, taunting the man who in turn gritted his teeth after being downsized by his opponent. Okay man, you managed to piss me off, now suffer the consequences, said the man before starting some hand seals for Fuden Kameidachi no Jutsu, wind style, cutting whirlwind jutsu. Suddenly, Shinji sent waves of cutting winds at Naruto, who barely jumped in time to avoid the technique and then look at the man. The bingo book didn't say anything about him being a wind user, however Naruto figured that the man leaned it after seeing Suna's scroll. Fire beats wind, Naruto. Channel some of my chakra and deal with this man, said Kyuubi, not even bothering to watch the fight. You don't need to tell me that, I was already thinking about it, thought Naruto as he focused a bit of the fox's chakra and took his sword in order to charge against the man. Because of the extra chakra in Naruto's chakra coils, his speed doubled, thus taking Shinji by surprise, who in turn took a kunai and was barely able to hold itself against the Furisire. However, Shinji was surprised when the hunter's sword was surrounded by fire, thus shattering the kunai into pieces. Taking advantage of the man's surprise, Naruto landed a powerful kick on the man's chest, sending the man flying. While the man was flying, Naruto took the time and started the long series of hand seals needed for Fuden Suido no Tatsumaki, wind style, tornado tunnel jutsu. Although the attack landed, Shinji, at the last minute, switched places with a nearby rock, thus evading the attack and appearing side by side with the hunter. Fuden K's no Yeba, wind style, wind sword jutsu. Not having time to evade and not enough chakra control to do a kawarimi, Naruto made his trademark seal for Bunshin Danmaku no Jutsu, clone barrage jutsu. Instantly, 4 cage Bunshins appeared and blocked the attack with their lives, thus protecting the real one. Feeling the need to end the fight right now, Naruto picked his sword and charged against the surprised man, who was taken aback after seeing someone use a kinjutsu for defensive purposes, thus cutting the man's head off before the man could even move a muscle. After the man fell on the ground, Naruto searched his jacket and smiled upon finding Suna's scroll. After putting the man's head inside a scroll, he labeled it for Konaha and summoned Gamakichi, who took both scrolls and nodded. Quickly vanishing, the toad went to Gaara's office and delivered him the scroll. The cage was surprised to see the toad in his office, but then remembered about Naruto's mission, so he thanked Gamakichi and handed him a scroll to give Naruto. Once Gamakichi was back, he handed a scroll for Naruto, who unrolled it began to read. Naruto, thanks for retrieving the scroll. Once again I'm in gratitude towards you for helping the people of Suna. As reward for your trouble, below there is a hint to the next phase of Fuden ninjutsu training. I decided to give this to you, seeing that you could have looked this information at the scroll Shinji stole, but didn't. See you soon, my friend. Third step. K's Seishu, wind gathering. After reading the letter, Naruto smiled and then asked Gamakichi to go to Konaha with the head and the report on Shinji's false status as C-ranked missing nin, simply because of his ability in Fuden ninjutsu.